Welcome back to Reinvention Real Talk, the podcast where we pull back the curtain on transformation, the struggles, the breakthroughs, and the inner work it really takes to reinvent yourself. My guest today is someone whose brilliance lies not only in her professional expertise, but in the way she helps people see what they cannot see in themselves. She's a mindset coach, a spiritual psychologist, and the creator of the game of mental resilience. Through her work, she guides ambitious people to uncover hidden blocks, build unshakable belief systems, and transform not just what they do, but who they become. Juliana Vasquez is here with me today, and I promise this conversation, it will shift the way you think about resilience, success, and the stories we live by. Juliana, welcome to Reinvention Real Talk.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a true pleasure to be here today.
Oh, so excited about the conversation we're about to get into. And it's funny because we connected very organically. I was meeting someone else at a restaurant and I connected with you at that restaurant. And then now we're here on the podcast. So thank you so much. So sometimes the universe brings in exactly the people that we need into our lives.
I honestly think the same way because I went by myself to the restaurant to have a bite after a very stressful day of jury duty, actually.
Oh boy.
And I just happened to know somebody that works at the restaurant. So I was like, let me go grab a bite, just sit down at the bar, just have a second. And we met. And when you started speaking to the person who was sitting next to me, it just like, hold on, everything that you do and the podcast that you have is exactly what I do. This is amazing.
Yes. Yeah, the universe definitely was speaking that day.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Now, Juliana, you've lived between cultures, Venezuela and the United States.
Yes.
How was carrying both worlds within you shaped your perspective on resilience, belonging, and the pursuit of achievement?
I think there's no way to say the word immigrant without understanding the fact that they are resilient, period. The fact of being bilingual extends your vocabulary. So just right there, it expands. But also just the fact that you are leaving a place, not necessarily wanting to leave the place. I would say that I didn't leave Venezuela. They took me out of Venezuela.
Okay.
I was around 15 years old, which is a very different way to migrate versus like how a lot of people can migrate as adults, right? So you're confronted with a very different reality. And I would say for a very long time, I really had a bad relationship with the word resilience because everybody keeps telling you, like, oh my God, Juli, you're so resilient. Everybody calls me Juli.
Okay.
So I'm like, Juli, you're so resilient, right? And like, everything you've gone through, my personal story, which is like, there's more in depth and maybe another episode for that. But being an immigrant and then understanding a new culture and going through everything, for a very long time, I was like, I don't find it as a compliment because being resilient, it is a great thing to see the fact that you're able to overcome, right? But at the moment that you're being resilient, it feels horrible. It's not fun. It's uncomfortable. It's sticky. It's sad. It's just like all these feelings that happen with you when afterwards is when you look back and you're like, oh, wow, holy, like I was able to see something better. I was able to get through the uncomfortableness, ickiness, sadness, challenges and get to the other side. But being resilient, the first thing I tell a lot of people is just that it's not going to be fun. Like, I think we see a lot of the other side, right? We see a lot of the other side, and I'm like, look at everything this person accomplished. And I'm like, yeah, but has anybody asked them how they felt while they were doing it?
Yeah, we always tend to see the highlight reel at the end.
Exactly. So I would say that I am very proud of myself as somebody that has lived between two cultures because I always say it, I say it on my bio, even I'm not bilingual, I'm bicultural at this point because my work ethic is very much American. However, I grew up with a very solid Hispanic base in my household of family and union, right? But that also means that I didn't necessarily grew up with a sense of boundaries, if you think about it, which is very Hispanic, right?
Very Hispanic, very.
But then you go into the corporate world where if you don't have boundaries, you get eaten alive by other people.
Yeah.
So I think navigating through the both cultures, being able to be have love and empathy for what I'm going through.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm gonna curse. Can I curse?
Go
I don't
ahead.
even know if I can.
Absolutely. You can curse.
A shitload of curiosity
Yes.
where I was like, okay, hold on. The way that my parents lived in back at home was this.
Hmm.
Now I'm an immigrant in Miami, which is also a very similar culture, right? And then
Yes.
you start traveling throughout the United States and you're like, hold on, United States is like this big continent that is not just Florida, obviously, or South Florida.
Yeah.
And I would say that in regards to your question, it's just like for me, it has been a matter of embracing
Hmm.
the uncomfortable feelings
Hmm. Hmm.
because somehow now I see it. Those
Yeah.
many times I couldn't see it,
Yeah.
but now I see that the uncomfortable moments
Hmm.
will, for sure, 100% return of investment,
Yeah.
give me something back in a form of a lesson, in a form of a friend, in a form of an opportunity, or
Yeah.
anything. And
Hmm.
now it's not that I invite the struggle, but I approach it with curiosity when it shows up because life is, right?
Hmm.
Like life
Yeah.
is just life.
Yeah.
So once it shows up, it's like, huh,
Hmm.
this might suck, but
Yes.
what do I have to learn from this?
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 I
So
love
it's
that.
yeah, so I think it's the best way I could answer that question.
Yeah, it was a great answer. There's a few takeaways for me there. When you said just to be bilingual
Yeah.
is, I mean, I want to learn a third language. Well, of course, it takes time, but
Yeah,
even
yeah,
just, I remember growing up because, I am the daughter of immigrants
yeah.
and, so super proud of them. My dad came here. I always call my dad achieved what we call the so-called, and I'm putting in quotation marks so those
Yeah.
people not are not watching this, but they're hearing it.
Yeah.
The American dream, and
Correct.
it's just. But I would get so frustrated with them and aggravated because when we were growing up, they didn't allow us to speak English in the house,
Got
and
it.
I was like, why? I'm
Why?
American, and
Yeah, of
I,
course.
yeah, and it's like now that is one of my most greatest moments when
Yeah.
thinking back in my childhood of my immigrant parents forced us to speak so we can continue the culture and we continue having that in our lives. And I speak, read, and write Spanish, fluently,
Yeah.
perfect. And it's
Yeah.
because they give us that. So I love that you did say that. And then the regarding boundaries, because for Hispanics, it is, I agree with you 100%. It is so difficult for us to have boundaries
Very
because
much.
we weren't raised with boundaries.
No.
I'm trying to explain to my mom, who's 82, literally like 6 months ago, I was explaining something to her and I said, but mom, you don't have boundaries. And of course, she's like, ¿pero qué es eso?
Pero ¿qué quieres decir? Yeah.
Boundaries? And I'm like, límites, mommy. And she's like, yo no sé qué es eso. And she's like, ay, yo no sé, like, I don't know, you and your things. And I'm like, mom, the reason that this is happening to you
Yeah.
is because with this person, you don't have the boundaries. And we were talking about, a
Yeah.
friendship. And I was like, and this is why. And for us, and you who came here,
Yeah.
me later as an adult and a daughter of immigrants, having
Yeah.
to learn what boundaries are and
Yeah.
putting that very much into our life so we can succeed. And it's funny that you said that. Those are the two things that really stuck out with me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things I would say. And it's also a cultural thing, right? So our
Huge.
parents did the best they could with what they
Yeah.
had at the moment. And it's something that we only have known that. And
Yeah.
although my parents are kind of around the same age as yours.
Yes.
So it's interesting because my dad is completely closed to
Yeah.
that. But my mom is curious about it nowadays. And I'm like, cause and effect. Like there's some effects that have happened in her life that are the cause of not having boundaries with
Yes.
certain people in her life. So
Hmm.
it's like this is an example. She's a teacher. So for me, it's been great to develop a relationship as an adult with my mom
Wow.
through the curiosity aspect of like, but what do you think?
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
is an example.
Yes.
Um, and I think it's beautiful also because my mom is a teacher.
Hmm.
She was so animate to same as you.
Yeah.
Keep Spanish
Yeah.
completely and utterly at home, because she's
Yes.
like, you'll have the world to learn English and write English and do all
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
then nowadays I am pretty thankful to keep the whole thing going, because I went and moved around the states,
Yeah.
because now not only do I help people on both languages, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of people like you, they're daughter of immigrants, that there's certain feelings and there's certain things that they only know in Spanish, because
Yes.
that was
Oh,
the only language that existed when they learned the whole thing, right?
yes. Yeah. Like I can't pray if it's not in Spanish.
Uh-huh. I can't count if it's
Yeah.
not in Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm
it's
sorry. Go
like,
ahead. I had to tell you that.
I love it. No, it's funny because I even know how to pray in French, which is hilarious, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, that's, Catholicism and guilt.
Ooh.
Again, another podcast.
Yeah.
But like, yes, it's like being able to be fully bilingual makes me be able to help so many other people
Yeah.
and other cultures other than Hispanic that do have that same dynamic in the family,
Yeah.
that happens a lot in other cultures as well, that has just like bits and pieces,
Yeah.
and it helps me to do what I do today.
Yes. Oh gosh, I love it. I know our lessons that we didn't think we questioned them, turned out to be our best lessons growing up.
Always.
Yeah, to
Always.
serve us. Yes. Now, let me ask you, before you became a mindset coach, what was the moment you realized the biggest battle is not external but internal?
Oh girl, my first anxiety attack, I would say.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so before I became a life coach, I used to have a pretty successful career in event management, in food and beverage, in like logistical of massive events. We're talking
Yeah.
about 800 employees at a time and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So my, I already was battling with the quality of life that I was living and how much work I was doing, right? You being very familiar with TV is, working in events is production hours. It's just,
Yeah.
you're done when you're done, right? And you get there as early as you can and you leave as late as you can and you just show up, right?
Yeah.
So I had my first panic attack, funny enough, at an award show in Miami,
Wow.
in a venue I'm not going to say, in an award show that I'm not going to say.
Yeah.
But it got to a point that the people that I was working with, now I understand, on top of maybe maturity on my side, I wasn't set up for success. And because of this burden of like, this is all my responsibility kind of thing, I had my first panic attack.
Wow.
And
The award show.
at the award show, I literally, when you're in big venues, you
Yeah.
can go through the stairs and you kind of get lost in the stairs if you think
Yes.
about it.
Yes. Yes.
So I kind of knew my way around the place, and I just found it. I could feel it, and I found a stairs, and I dropped to my knees, and I couldn't get up. And it was just like crying uncontrollably because everything that was happening was just getting out of control.
Yeah.
Me thinking that it was only my responsibility at the time, it just really felt desalmada. Like it was just like something that I like had. It was hopeless almost. And I just remember crying hysterically. And it was so just hopeless at the moment. I remember praying even about it because I was like, I can't get up.
Yeah.
So slowly but surely got myself out of it. And here's a really amazing point in my life. One of my employees was a nurse. She used to work with me during the day, and at night she was a night nurse.
Okay.
So I walk up to her with all the courage that I could muster because I was like crying uncontrollably in the middle of the stairs, grabbed her by the hand, and I said, I think I just had a panic attack. And she grabs me, takes me outside of the building in the side where everybody smokes,
Yep.
and she lights up 2 cigarettes and
Oh.
gives me a cigarette.
Okay.
And she's like, well, you're the only one that can do something about it. So I'm just going to stand here with you smoking the cigarette and let's see what we can do.
Wow.
She didn't say I needed anything. Like it was, for me, it was even more frustrating because I was like, oh, this is all being made up in my mind. And this is someone who I respect as a medical person, right? Like, I'm not having a heart attack. Like, I'm not dying or anything. She's not going up to my rescue.
Yeah.
she's literally telling me it's up to me to calm down, and it's up to me to think about it differently in order to see what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So by then, I was very, very curious about personal development already.
Okay.
That event took me in a series of events that led me to even move out of Florida.
Okay.
And when I was in California working and doing all this stuff, that's when I had just a big breakthrough where I was like, hold on, this is not working out. And then got therapy, got coaching.
So important. Therapy, people don't realize.
Yep. And then my coach, who's now my mentor at the time, when she's helping me discover this whole thing out, she was like, you're very good at this. Like, you can totally be a coach.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm kind of curious about it because I always tend to be the person that people tell me their biggest secrets just meeting them,
Yes.
I like this. I understand the fact that it's on you. I like accompanying people, and somehow in my career and in my life, in my volunteering work, I kind of always have done it, but I never found a way to get paid for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So she showed me how to have a business through that. So I got certified, and then I got certified as a life coach, and I attended the University of Santa Monica, and I got certified as a spiritual psychologist.
Okay.
So I did kind of like a master's in 3 years, and it changed my life because through the tools of not only helping myself,
Yes.
but coming across people that they were like, oh, it makes total sense, Juli, that you're becoming a life coach, right? At the time I was a life coach. I wasn't so much into the mindset.
Yeah.
I started getting like little clients here and there and just started growing from there,
Yeah.
and realized that it was just like, I'm not here to solve your problems. I'm here to see what you're not seeing.
Yes.
Because it's really hard to see it. I always say that I help people see blind spots.
Yes. Yes.
And you need somebody else to do it because I have people who do that to me. The only reason why I know it is because I practice it, right?
Yeah.
So through that experience and through a panic attack, I would say, led me to the beautiful path that I do right now of helping others.
And it's so gratifying.
It is.
It's
It
beautiful
is.
to see that.
It is. I think it is gratifying, I would say. I just happen to know what my purpose is, and it just happens to coincide with what my work is.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important for people to differentiate, especially when they're going through a reinvention path.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, what your purpose is doesn't necessarily need to align to making money out of it.
Yeah.
Mine just happens to coincide.
Yes.
So I think it was a beautiful thing to understand the difference between those two, because there's many ways that you can help people. There's many ways that you can help people and then make it your job. But also there's a very double-edged sword when it comes to helping people,
Okay.
which is I would say it comes to, I need you to need me, which tends to be very cultural, right? Especially at our parents' kind of generations, right? Which is like, the only way I can express that I care about you is by anguish, and like, and worry. And that's not helpful.
No, it brings so much negativity and pulls it down even more. Yeah.
And it drains your energy.
It does.
Because
Everything.
so it's, I will, the gratification I would, again, me being a curious being, I will just put a little bit of curiosity in there, which is like, where is that gratification coming from?
Yeah.
However, I am lucky enough to be able to find my job and that to be together. But
Yes.
that doesn't need to be the case.
I think that's important. A lot of people think like the monetary, the financial always has to follow, but sometimes you're just gratified. You do it, as a side thing or just to help people.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the most beautiful things that we can do for each other as human beings.
Yes,
We can
definitely.
do that. Yeah.
Collaborate.
Yeah, collaborate, exactly. That's the perfect word, collaboration.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And I want to talk about invisible blocks, okay? Because you often talk about unconscious blocks.
Yes.
Now, for someone listening to this podcast right now, what does that really mean? Can you share how these invisible patterns quietly govern our choices and even our destiny?
Of course. There's a quote that I'm gonna totally butcher right now by Carl Jung, which says, "Until you make your unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it destiny."
Yeah.
So I think what's very important in regards to that is the fact that unconscious blocks,
Mm-hmm.
A, is that it's unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
However, how do the symptoms look like? Which is the
Yeah.
best way that I like to explain it.
Yeah.
Let's make an example, which is a very common one with a lot of women, unfortunately, which is how to lose weight, right?
Mm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
At this point in time, with all the information that we
Mm-hmm.
all know what we have to do in order to lose weight or gain weight.
Yeah.
Okay, there's some of us that want to gain weight.
Yeah.
We know what we need to do. We know who to contact. We know who to talk to. We know where to sign up. We know ChatGPT can give us a whole thing. We
Yeah.
even know that we can get on this books, and the books tells us that if you bite-sized things, then you actually do it. But you don't take action for some reason that you
Yeah.
can't seem to put your finger on.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I come in.
Okay. Yeah.
That's exactly where I come in because with the blind spots that we're talking about, which is also the unconscious,
Mm-hmm.
blocks that we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
with a little bit of curiosity and obviously coaching tools that I have, we're
Yeah.
able to unveil little by little what is it, right?
Yeah.
One of the unconscious blocks sometimes is what we just talked about, boundaries.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have boundaries with other people, so we don't put ourselves first.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't even have time to even sign up to go to the place that we know is going to be great.
And that's such a woman thing too. I'm
It
not trying
is.
to generalize, but it's mostly women. We don't put ourselves first.
It because we were raised to be that way, especially Hispanic women.
Yeah.
So it is very common for us to go last because that's the noble thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, now we know. So, what would happen in that moment once we uncover an unconscious block? We're like, okay, love to that part of you,
Yeah.
right? It has gotten you here until this point.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gaining from this? What are you draining your energy from this? Because there's a reason why we keep doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I want to be able to make sure that I'm people pleasing, so and so. Great. Why do we want to people please them? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting a benefit out of it. Okay, great. What
Mm.
benefit? What's another way? And usually, most of the time, there's a lot of fears that get uncovered when we
That's
do
what I was
that.
gonna ask you. Was it fear? Is it fear based?
Very much. I
Okay.
would say if we can sum up,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a very, 2 second,
Yeah.
like back of the Arizona tea bottle kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
situation. But
Yeah.
if you could sum it up, we can sum up feelings and emotion into two realms, which is
Mm-hmm.
fear and love.
Okay.
So doubt will be something amongst the fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Confusion, not making a decision,
Mm-hmm.
that all is within the fear.
Yeah.
That and fears can come in so many ways, shapes, or form. It can
Mm-hmm.
come in the form of um, calladita te ves más bonita.
Oh my
If
God.
you're quiet and shy, the prettier you'll be.
Yes.
And it's like, is that true? Do you
Mm-hmm.
really believe that? So
Yeah.
when it comes to the fears, A is the fear of disrespecting people, is the fear of disappointing people.
Mm.
Um, and it's very clear. There's a lot of people that have the fear to disappointing themselves, so that's
Yeah.
why they might be so egocentrical,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Without going to the narcissistic part, which again, another podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a lot of fears that come up, and usually what happens with fears is that
Mm-hmm.
fears tend to be way greater in our mind than what they actually are. But
Yes.
in order to even look at the fear,
Mm-hmm.
A is the amount of trauma that might come with that. So
Yeah.
that's when a therapist might be coming into the conversation rather than a coach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's different therapy styles that are great for different kinds of fears that are very real to people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a way to become friends with your fear where you really understand what's going on behind it, right?
Okay.
Which is the triggers that make this fear appear.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people have become experts in building a life not even to come close to that trigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
the life kind of tends to habit to bring that thing up somehow
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
through your body, through illness, through emotions, through people, right?
Yeah.
Because they kind of, you start going out with this person and you break up with them, and all of a sudden this other person with this other face, another thing, but it's the same person that keeps coming up. So
Yeah.
it's like, what is the thing that we keep avoiding here? Come on.
It's almost like it's a trap. Like you're trapped in repeating the cycles, the same results, the same disappointments, the same person.
And
Yeah.
that's when we need to get curious about understanding, okay, what am I fearful for here?
Yeah.
What am I avoiding here?
Yeah. So that's where you kind of almost begin to identify the blind spots that are holding them hostage.
100%. From there, we make a plan where we really understand, oh, this is what's happening. Because I also believe how you do anything is how you do everything. I'm pretty sure you heard of this.
Yeah.
So usually this challenging thing that comes up in your life tends to show up in all other areas of your life as well.
Yes.
So it's a beautiful thing to work with this, because there's no way not to have a transformation. Number one, because you want to.
Yeah.
And number two, because you're able to identify it. If you can't name it, you can't heal it. So it's in a safe space. That's the other thing. I think a lot of people are used to the idea of thinking of coaching or therapy or healing to be this very uncomfortable place. Like, you know what? Let's not touch it, because if I open this Pandora box, I don't know what's going to come out. It's going to make my life hell.
Yeah.
I think there's a beautiful thing about it, because it's also a way to dismantle the bomb.
Okay.
And there's different people for that. I think there's a lot of people that believe in, shock therapy. Good for them. Love it. Not my thing. There's some people that need it.
Yeah.
And I believe to be a little bit of shock therapy because of the words that I use are very colloquial, are very talking to a friend, and you feel non-judgment about it. But I'm also very peculiar about certain things that are done not in the most ethical way, where you re-traumatize the person, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So whenever you do bring up a fear, ask yourself, are you doing this with a person that has the tools to just hold you without judgment? Because I think sometimes we have the best intentions to open up and be vulnerable with people just because they're my boss, they're my partner, they're this. That doesn't make them less of a boss or less of a partner. They might not just be the right person for that.
Yeah.
And then that's where you look for help in maybe a very empathetic and great friend, maybe somebody who's licensed, maybe somebody who's a coach, maybe he's a priest, maybe it's somebody in the religious community that you are, maybe it's a friend of yours in CrossFit that you kind of have the same struggles, right? But then the shame of having the fear diffuses and is less, and then you're able to see it with curiosity, so you can look for the right places to help you out.
I love that you use the word curiosity. Look at it through the lens of curiosity, which a lot of people do not.
Be curious.
That is great. It is very much. That was beautiful. Thank you. But I
No.
do get into some of the meat of the stuff here, because your framework is called the game of mental resilience.
Yes.
Now, why a game, and
Okay.
what shifts when we see resilience as something we can practice and even play with?
Ooh, love it. So the game of mental resilience came about because I have, on top of having all of my clients that are, amazing human beings on earth, I also work with a lot of professional athletes,
Okay.
which they're on a game. They're on a literal game. And one of the most beautiful things that I have understood from athletes that has brought personally to my life is the fact that in an athlete's life, they will lose more than they will win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can ask any professional athlete that, unless, even I think Roger Federer, they interviewed him, or he gave a speech one day. And I think he has won only 49% of his games, and that's a guy who has won it all.
Who is like the greatest of the greatest.
So even if you go to that thing, it's not
Yeah.
even that. So one of the beautiful things that I have been able to help many athletes is the fact of how they deal with losing the game
Mm.
without with really managing the reality of what's going on
Okay.
and how to come back up faster,
Mm.
because they literally don't have a lot of time because the next point
Yeah.
is right away,
Yeah. Right
right?
away. Hmm.
You're in the middle of the game.
Yes. Yeah.
So in the game of mental resilience is
Okay.
because there's a statistic
Hmm.
that the difference between the top 20 and the top 1 in the world,
Hmm.
specifically that did the study in tennis,
Hmm.
the difference is the mindset.
Mm.
The
Okay.
athletic ability from a
Okay.
top 20 to a top 1 is very much similar.
Yes. Okay.
They have sort of the same strength, the same speed, and all
Hmm.
this kind of stuff. In most of the games, if you see it, is very common.
Okay.
However, the difference is how they think about it.
Okay. Okay. So, but how
And
would you help that high achiever? Like, let's say that you want them to pursue
yeah,
greatness, but without them being consumed by perfectionism or a burnout to them.
usually the first thing that I talk to them about is what happens to you when you lose a game. What happens right away? That's literally the first conversation that I have with many athletes. It's like,
Yeah.
what goes through your mind and what happens? And most of them are
Hmm.
big overthinkers and they're big perfectionists.
Yes. Yes.
So there's a lot of them that don't even accept the
Hmm.
fact of being this. And the game of mental resilience is the name of my one of the speaking topics that I do a lot in a
Okay.
lot of colleges and universities and CrossFit teams and like a lot of like competitive, even sales team have hired me for this talk. And these are the
Yeah.
three things that I say. Number one, accepting where you are. You lost.
Okay.
This is done. This it happened.
Yes.
I lost the house. I lost my job. I'm no longer with my partner. Like accepting the reality of what is
Hmm.
at the moment.
Yep.
Without accepting it, you can't move forward.
Hmm.
Period. Step by step. Number two rule of the game
Hmm.
is making a decision.
Hmm.
Right then and there, you make a decision to
Okay.
keep going.
Okay.
But a lot of people, as soon as they have this little mishap happen,
Hmm.
they choose to lose.
Hmm.
How many times have we walked into a room
Hmm.
because you had a meeting, an interview,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
and way before you even walked into the room, you already made yourself lost?
Yeah.
Meaning, you're
Yeah.
like, they're not going to talk to me. I don't think they're going to hire me. I don't think I have the right chance.
That
I
little
have a lot
voice.
of things. All the little voice of your limiting beliefs comes
Hmm.
forward, and
Yeah.
you convince yourself without even entering the room already that you lost.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot of athletes. A lot of athletes from one of these points, they kind of like they lose a point and they just like arrastran,
Yeah.
they like drag that whole thing around through the whole game.
Yeah.
How many times for a 5 minute horrible conversation at the beginning of your day,
Hmm.
you drag it for a week? Okay,
Yes.
you can't
Oof.
believe the week that I have because I had this
Yeah.
conversation with Karen and
Yeah.
you have no idea. And oh my God, it was terrible. And all of a sudden you keep bringing and feeding it, keeping it
Hmm.
and giving life,
Oh, the overthinking.
right?
Yeah.
So you first accept what's going on, right?
Hmm.
Number two, you make a decision. Okay, let it go. That just
Hmm.
happened. We're going to
Yeah.
keep going forward or we're going to stop.
Hmm.
Sometimes we need to stop.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not going to be perfect. Again, the
Hmm.
game.
Hmm.
And that's one of the things that if you're not ready to play, then don't come into the games.
Hmm.
You're going to lose. And that
Yeah.
just happens, right?
Yeah.
And number third is you got to trust your muscle memory.
Mm. Yeah.
And I think that's a huge one because a lot of people are really great at putting themselves down.
Hmm. We're our biggest critics. We're the last person to forgive. We're the hardest on ourselves. We will let other people get away with what we don't let ourselves get away with and beat ourselves up over and over.
Exactly. And it's funny enough because the Formula One movie just, it's a very popular
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a big sports fan. That's also why I ended up in this world without even knowing it.
Yes.
And there's a line in the movie that Brad Pitt says to someone in the team, and he says, "You don't be hard on yourself. You already have the whole world being hard on yourself. Don't do
Yeah.
it."
Don't do it.
So that's the thing. I think there's a
Us-
misconception
Yeah.
thinking that if we're hard on ourselves, that we're gonna do better.
Guilty. Uh-huh.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
So I think there's a very big difference between being disciplined, between having a habit, between motivation versus discipline. Because I think a lot of people think that you need to have the motivation. And I'm like, sometimes you just need to sit down and write it,
Yeah.
which is the consistency and the inspiration, right? What did
Yes.
Albert Einstein say? Inspiration will always meet you working.
Yes.
So I think we need to separate these things into trusting what you already know, right? So a lot of athletes, it's great because a lot of the professional athletes that I talk to, they've been playing this sport since they were very little,
Yeah.
right? So I always ask them, like, you forget that you're actually really good at this. If not,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be in this place, right?
Yeah.
And there was always a moment in our lives that we weren't as good at something, and then now we got it.
Yeah.
This I always say this.
Yeah.
There was a point in your life, and this is for most humans, right?
Okay.
That you didn't know how to walk,
Yeah.
and you couldn't. You literally couldn't, and you would fall.
Yeah.
How are you doing so far?
We're all walking.
Most of us, there's some of us that don't, that have things, then it's great, and they have other challenges, and they thrive in many other things.
Yes. Yeah.
But there was always something in your life that you were not good at, that all of a sudden you figured out and you did.
Yeah.
So it's trusting that. It's like in your, and I'm just going out here in the blind, but like if you're very hard on yourself, Karen, like, don't you forget that you're a journalist and like you do what you do and like you talk to people and you have this and you have a platform and iHeartRadio does this for you and you have all these people and you attract people immediately because you know exactly how to talk about it, that even somebody who was a random person at a bar turned around and said, "Hey, me."
It's funny, I get that from my daughter who's 24 and she says, "Stop being so hard on yourself, Mom. You've done so good." And I'm like, but it has to be better. Or I achieve something big.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
And you
great.
tone it down.
Great job, Karen. Next, let's go. You celebrate for 2 minutes. And I'm working hard on actually being able to say, "You know what, Karen? You did good. Let me
Yeah.
celebrate with you," whether it's telling myself I did good, writing in a journal, taking myself for ice cream, whatever, just to say I did good and giving myself that acknowledgement, which is incredibly hard. But I will acknowledge everyone else all day long and tell them how great they are and what they've achieved, whether it's small, huge. And again, we tend
Yeah.
to be hardest on ourselves.
Yeah, and I would say I would be curious about it.
Yeah.
Because how is it working so far being like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that is an old mentality
Yeah.
that has in its core some point to it, which is discipline.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to work. Like, it's just not going to come to you. Yes, you have to do some hard work for it.
Yeah.
But I think the more and more we live in this world, we realize there's some certain things that for me are extremely easy that for others is not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny, I was with my mom. I took her to an appointment with this doctor. She had vertigo, so it was like a crystal in her ear and this whole kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this doctor, who is Native American,
Okay.
learned Spanish, so he's the only one that takes Spanish patients, right?
Okay.
And you can see he's making an effort into speaking Spanish, but he's adorable. He's a great guy, and he sees him, and he goes back between all in one, and he's super nice, and he talks to everybody, and he comes back and gives him a test, and then tells him everything, and like, oh my God, and like, great guy, and it's packed every single time we go. And my mom goes, "Oh my God, he must be so tired when he gets home, and everything must hurt," right? Coming from her story, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's so tiring doing this, right? And I'm
Yes.
like, "Mom, I think that he might come home and is fine, but don't ask him to cook." Like, who knows? Like,
Yeah.
Which for my mom, she can cook all day and she'll be the happiest person ever. So
Yes.
it's like, that's where I invite curiosity of like thinking that because we wouldn't do that, that doesn't mean that they're going to do it the same way.
Yeah.
Or assuming that that's what expected of us.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we need to a little bit, that's where I come in to regulate of like, well, hold on. So I think that's where like the shock therapy comes. I will tell you things without sugarcoating it.
Ah, yeah.
But because I'm coming from a place of empathy and love, because I truly wholeheartedly believe you have the answers,
Yes.
there's no way it's gonna hurt, right? It's gonna challenge you.
Yes.
It's gonna be able to show you, hey, you have to go this way.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready to confront it. And I always tell this to people, I might not even be the person, but find someone.
But find someone, yeah. And that's why, I mean, you're a mindset growth coach. So you want it. And yeah, and you weave together psychology and spirituality into your work. Now, how do you think these two disciplines complement each other into guiding someone through transformation?
I think that even, it's funny, I think it was Carl Jung. The reason why AA meetings exist in the world is because this very, very rich man couldn't handle his alcohol. I think he was American, and he went all the way to Switzerland to see Carl Jung to help me out.
Okay.
And Carl Jung told him, you need to have a spiritual experience. And then send him back. Carl Jung later confessed that he was terrified about telling this very rich man, because he was like, how I, a science man, bring spirituality into this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just so happens that this man ended up being the person who founded AA in the United States.
Wow.
And a lot of things and aspects of AA have to do with a greater force, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk, you call it God, you call it whatever you want to call it, universe, energy, the ethereal thing that you just feel in your heart when you're playing music.
Yeah.
One of the beautiful things that I think of the tools that I have is that I don't mind translating into whoever's in front of me.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't have a truth. I just want you to understand you and have your own language, right?
Yes.
So I think spirituality to people, spirituality, not necessarily religion, and I think there's a difference there.
Yeah, there is a difference. Yes.
Spirituality is a personal relationship with something greater.
Yes. Yes.
And there's no spokesperson for your own spirituality.
Yeah.
What does that mean? You have your own way of meditating, of praying, of communicating, of writing, of doing whatever you want. That for you is almost like a religion because you share it with a community that thinks alike, right? So I come into the spiritual world because I do greatly believe that connection with something higher, however that looks cultural and identity wise for you,
Okay.
brings you a lot of perspective and strength. Because in moments of despair, which happens a lot, and a lot of moments like that, I think we have to be very careful in not to bring in religion, but spirituality into the place.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Because spirituality or the something greater can be the love you feel for your daughter.
Yeah.
There's so many people that have been able to get out of a very rough patch just because of thinking of their pet. Because they have something to look forward to get up in the morning every single morning.
Yeah.
So I think it's very individual and it shouldn't be compared. Because again, it's very personal.
Yes.
So I think in a personal journey, what other thing within yourself than the personal relationship you have with something greater comes into play into how you see things. It comes into play in how you've been told you should see things that are greater than yourself, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in the Catholic Church. I had a great relationship with the Catholic Church. Nothing against it. There's some just dogmatic things in the Catholic Church that I don't agree with, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always say, and I'm like, why always talk about the devil? I'm not saying that dark forces don't exist. I completely understand and agree. Pero if we if we're in charge to talk about God and the only thing we talk about the devil, what do you think people are gonna think?
And I had this conversation last night actually with someone, what you're saying.
Point being, I'm not gonna go ahead and be, Pero, you should do this different, and this is how the
The
church should be.
devil will, yeah.
It's just not my place. Great. I respect. I take what's for me from this homily, and the rest I just let it go. But it
Yes.
takes a lot of maturity in order to do that, and it takes a lot of healthy curiosity, right? Because if it's not healthy curiosity, it's speculation.
I like to call it, because I'm also Catholic and was raised, Catholic and born, raised Catholic and still
Yeah, yeah.
practice it. But I like to call it, when people ask me, I would say, yes, I am more spiritual, but I am Catholic by birth. I will die Catholic. That is what I
Yeah.
am. I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
But I'm a cafeteria Catholic. I don't know what that is, but when
No.
you go to a cafeteria, you pick and choose off the menu. So basically, what you said, you take what resonates with you
Yeah.
from the message and you leave behind what doesn't. So I'm like with you, I choose, like, I don't want to see the dark forces. Do they exist? Yes, but I choose not to see that,
You choose not to focus on them.
focus on that, not see it, but yes, focus on that and be in that, where people in my family who will be like, oh no, because it's not that way and you can't call yourself that and this is not our religion. I'm like, no, you can't. That's where you lose people in religion.
Had whenever I hear stories that are very heartbreaking of
Yeah.
things that have been done and said in the Catholic Church,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the person that's going to defend something that clearly they're in pain by what something that
Yes.
happened.
Yep.
However, I always do say this, especially to people that have anything against any religion, because in my spiritual psychology certification, I have the honor and the pleasure
Yeah.
to do it amongst a Buddhist nun,
Wow. Uh-huh.
a Catholic priest, and a preacher from a Christian church that is really, really big in another place. So like there were many religious in there. And a lot of the quote unquote, well, not a quote unquote, a lot of the atrocities that sometimes happen within churches,
Yeah.
they happen everywhere, including Buddhism, which for me was like, hold on, but Buddhists are like, the realm of like nirvana.
Power. Yeah.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, I became really good friends with this nun. Like I'm telling you, friends. And it was like, holy crap, it happens everywhere, right? So for me, it became a moment where it was like, yes, it has to be done in the place where it's like, where's the love?
Yeah.
It was funny. There was one time that I was in a meeting with a bunch of people that from the Catholic Church, and they were talking about how to behave or not in Mass, right? And the whole entire time I'm twitching, right? I'm twitching, like my whole eye is twitching.
Yeah.
And my beautiful sister-in-law was next to me. She's like, please say something because you're gonna explode. And I'm like, no, it's not my place. Like, we're in this. This is the whole point. They do have a point. They're exaggerating so we can understand something. But like, it's just like, please talk. Like, I love you and I know you and I know you're gonna be loving however you say it. So at the end, they're like, yeah, and there's people that judge people, and there's the kids, and they don't know how to handle the kids, or then there's the people, and then they're the super religious ones, and the one that scream, and I raise my hand at the end, and I'm like, can I say something? And they're like, yeah, and I'm like, you know what? At least they went to church. At least they showed up.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're going through. And the whole point of us being together as a community is for us to be compassionate and loving with one another. So
Yeah.
grab the lady's baby and help her out.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So it's like, I think I would say that I'm a non-practicing Catholic because into the dogma of Catholicism it's just the truth. I do have a lot of things, but I think when it comes to Catholicism, Christianity, and all that kind of stuff, I'm not bashing on anything. I'm just saying be respectful of your own spiritual journey with that.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you it will help your personal journey along the way. Understanding, again, and being healthily curious about where that goes. And then you decide to pick it up or leave it.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, and speaking in true Christian terms, the cross is easier to carry amongst all of us.
Yes. An individual.
So it's not by ourselves also. But it is it needs to start within a personal relationship in order to understand where's your community of faith? Where's your community of faith can be CrossFit. I know excellent
Yeah.
human beings that are amazing fathers, that are amazing businessmen, and their Sunday doing golf is church for them.
Which with each individual.
It looks very different. It's our job. It's not my job to judge them. It's my job to be curious about them, to see if it's working for them. That's it. So we went in another route. I never thought we were going to go in this
I
conversation,
know,
but I
right?
love it.
It's been great, this interview. My God, I can keep going. My interview is usually 30 minutes, and here we are, like over
Sorry.
45. And no, it's been fantastic. Oh my gosh, I'll keep you on here for 2 hours. I know I won't. But
No,
yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. Now, if you had to distill everything you teach about resilience in one core truth, what would that be?
That the answer is on the other side of uncomfortableness.
And people don't like to go there.
People don't like to get uncomfortable. And I get it. It's very comfortable. I do get it. But there's no better investment to do than the investment you do in yourself. And although it's uncomfortable and although it might be all this, it's not going to last forever. It shall pass too. Just like a storm. And that goes on the other way.
Yeah.
All the happy moments and euphorias and all that kind of stuff, they shall pass too. So I don't think it's a matter of reaching happiness. I think it's a matter of reaching somewhere where you have peace.
Yeah.
So I would say that.
Yeah.
I would say that there's a lot of peace on the other side of being uncomfortable, especially when it comes to resilience.
And a lot of people don't want to get uncomfortable. They don't want to face, I like to call them their lions. They don't want to face their lions and do that inner work.
Funny enough that you said lions. My last blog post that I posted on my website, I call it, "What if your fear is just a dragon, not a monster?"
Yeah.
It's a very different thing to look
Yeah.
at a monster than to look at a majestic dragon, right?
Exactly. Yes.
And I talk in the blog post exactly about this because of the movie How to Train Your Dragon. And that's the truth about fears. You can train them. So you can train them.
Yes, absolutely. You can train them. Yes.
You can face them. It's going to be scary. It's going to be
scary.
uncomfortable. It's
Yeah.
going to be like, this dragon is going to eat me alive because my whole life I've been taught that these are scary people.
Yeah.
But you can be friends with your fears. You can learn how to train them. You can learn how to set up yourself in a better way because the truth is that there's some fears that are real. There's some fears that you need to be wary, but you also need to know what they actually are, not just because somebody told you that you should be scared of this, period, right? So I think I don't know if we're wrapping up, but I will leave you with this. There's only two fears that we're born with. The only two fears that we're born with are the fear of when you're in a roller coaster and you have like that empty feeling when you drop
like
down,
Yeah.
like you being dropped. You're born with that. So if you have a baby, the baby, like you shake or you miss a step, like the baby will start crying. Like that's a fear. And the second fear is loud noises, like very loud noises. Like if you clap really hard next to a baby, most likely they will cry as well.
Yeah.
That means that every single fear other than those two was learned.
That's learned behavior.
So what does that mean? The good news is that it can be unlearned. Through the right people, you can definitely unlearn to be fearful of these things, of death, of a stage fright, of airplanes, of all of this kind of stuff. However, there are some fractures, emotional fractures within people that you kind of have to be careful around for the rest of your life because it's something so big, right? I have a beautiful psychologist professor that would say, whenever you have something going on with your knees, con las rodillas,
Yeah.
like whenever you have something going on with your knees, like once is enough and you're done for life. Like you will always have something going on with your knees, right? And for instance, your heels are like almost indestructible. Like you will like twist the heel, you would put those heels on, like you do all this stuff to your heel and they're there, right? So I think there's some fractures emotionally that will kind of be there forever. So you learn how to work with them and not put yourself in a place where you're going to be triggered all the time, which sometimes can be a lot of difficult decisions. And that's where coaching goes through, taking action and through that. And just understand that there's a lot of things with healthy curiosity and tons of love and empathy that you can definitely heal.
This has been an incredible interview. Thank you so much. I mean,
Thank you.
where can our listeners connect with you,
Sure.
work with you?
So they can go to my website, which is
Okay.
julivasquez.com. And they can also find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on everything. It's Juliana, or Juliana, one N, M as in Mary, Vasquez.
I'm going to put that all in the show links as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you go to my website, I think that's the easiest thing. What I do is that I offer people a free 30-minute consultation. So if you go to my website and you click and you find a date and you fill up the whole questionnaire that I have, you can pick your 30 minutes. And then we'll talk, because as I said on the show, I might not be the right person for you, but I definitely will try to get you the right person.
Yes.
And I work with people in a certain frame. There's a certain, set and framework that I work with for 3 months with people that for some people, might vary, right? And it's coaching, it's not therapy, it's very different.
Yes.
But you
Understand
can
that.
go into my website. The blog is there also in Spanish and English also.
Okay. Wonderful.
That's the thing. I'm fully bilingual. And yeah, and in Instagram, I'm very active. I do something very cool on Instagram, which is called drive-through coaching.
Okay.
So every Monday, sometimes more than once a week, I'll go, I put a little question box and I answer in my stories all this stuff
Love
that
that.
people ask me. Yeah. So, and it's anonymous. You can ask any question that you want and I'll answer. So
We'll
it
answer.
has been a great thing that I started before the pandemic, and it's like been great.
I love that concept. Now, Juliana, this is my last question that I ask everyone on my show. One word. What does reinvention mean for you?
It's 2 words, but it's one. It's funny.
Everyone
Self,
always tries to sneak in 2 and 3. I'm like, one.
no. Okay, one. Okay. Alchemy.
Alchemy. I love it.
Alchemy.
Okay. Alchemy. And why would it be alchemy?
Because alchemy is the art of turning any metal into gold. And I would say that for me, alchemy, spiritual alchemy specifically, has taken these very dark things and turned them into gold in my life. And I think everything we talked about, right? Like going through the uncomfortable things, going through very dark things and turn them around to make them gold. I think that's my personal journey with reinvention, to the point that I have alquimista as a tattoo in my arm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's way before the alchemist book was popular and all that kind of stuff. This is like this word just came around before that, because it's the ability to turn gold. And I think that's a lot of what I help people do. Like there's some natural way for you to turn things into gold, and the gold that you are. So, alchemy.
Well, Juliana, thank you so much for this expansive and
Thank you.
thought-provoking conversation. I love it. You just don't teach resilience, you embody it. You remind us that the true game is not about what we conquer on the outside world, but what we master within ourselves. This is definitely one of the top conversations I have had, and I've loved all my guests, so this has been amazing. Thank you so much for giving me your time. You guys go follow her, get on her Instagram, go on her website. It's all in the show notes. Very easy to connect with her. And until next time, I am Karen Larrea, and remember, reinvention starts the moment you choose courage over comfort. Goodbye for now. Thank you, Juliana, again.
Thank you.